doodle, thinky doodle. Yeah, yeah. Thinky doodle, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thinky doodle, yeah, yeah.
Wow, the internet is really on fire with this one.
Yeah.
It's the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
And
the reactions are just so strong.
I think, for people who may not be like totally up on this, it's, obviously a terrible thing, the murder.
Right.
But, it's really the reactions to it that are making this such a big story.
Yeah.
And I think it says something, about where we're at with healthcare in this country.
Well, that's what we're going to do today. This whole deep dive.
Deep dive into it, yeah.
Why is this case striking such a nerve with everybody?
Right.
Because you've got people who think this is like the most awful thing.
Of course.
And then you've got other people who are almost like,
yeah.
I
can see why this happened.
Yeah.
And that's really a striking contrast.
It is.
And a scaring one in some ways. But we should probably talk about like some of the things that are feeding into this, the context here. I mean, I don't think it's a secret to anyone listening that the U.S. healthcare system, well, it's a mess.
It's not great.
It's not great. We spend like way more than any other developed country on healthcare per person.
It's crazy.
And we still have millions and millions of people who don't even have insurance or they're underinsured.
Right.
And it's just like people are, having to choose between, buying groceries and getting their medication.
Yeah.
They're putting off treatments because they just can't afford them and they're ending up, in mountains of debt.
Oh, medical debt is just crushing people.
Absolutely crushing people. And so there's this feeling that, the system, it's not about people, it's about profits.
Right.
And that breeds resentment, a lot of it.
Yeah. And it sounds like, based on all these articles and all the things we've read, this case has just kind of brought it all to the surface.
I think so. And, there was one quote that really stuck out to me where one expert cautions that this isn't a solution. Like one person dying isn't going to magically fix a broken system.
Yeah, I remember that one. It's like one person's death won't fix a broken system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a stark reminder that violence just leads to more violence.
Right.
It's not a solution. It's not going to get us anywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, what we really need to be talking about is systemic change.
Yeah.
Not vigilante justice, but that brings up a whole other, can of worms.
Oh, yeah.
Because what does that actually look like? I mean, some people are saying we need to like totally overhaul everything and go to a single payer system,
Right.
like they have in a lot of, European countries and things. Others think we should focus on like regulating the pharmaceutical industry, to get the cost of prescription drugs down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are tons of ideas out there, but they all come with their own, complications.
Right. It's interesting, though, because this case has really highlighted how, corporations like UnitedHealthcare play a part in all of this.
Yeah.
Because the articles point to some of their policies, like denying coverage for certain treatments or just making it like incredibly hard to figure out how to appeal a decision,
Yeah.
And that's kind of being used as an example of how some of these corporate practices are actually contributing to the problem.
Well, right. And it's important to point out that, UnitedHealthcare is not the only one, right?
Right.
A lot of the big insurance companies are getting called out for this kind of thing.
Right.
People say they're putting profits ahead of patients. And I think, this case has just turned up the volume on that whole argument.
Yep.
So now the question is this going to be like a turning point?
Right.
Yep.
Is this going to force us to actually look at what's broken and push for real change?
Yeah. Because I feel like we've been talking about this for so long.
Right.
And
it feels like, it's been the same conversation for a long time.
Yeah, and it just never gets anywhere.
And it never gets anywhere.
So is this the thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We've kind of gone over a lot here. Right?
Yeah.
The emotions, the the ethical questions,
Yeah.
the problems with the system itself.
We've unpacked a lot.
It's heavy stuff.
It is.
But I feel like it's really important to understand all the different sides of it.
I agree. I think as awful as this whole thing is,
Yeah.
this case, it started a conversation that we need to have, We need to keep having.
Right.
And what we do with all of this, this anger, this frustration,
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Right. Are we going to let it, turn into something destructive, or can we turn it into something positive, something that actually leads to some solutions?
Right.
It's really up to each of us to decide what role we want to play in all of this, in shaping the future of healthcare. And I know it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, what can one person really do?
Right.
But every voice matters. Every action, even the small ones, they all contribute
Right.
to pushing for change.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
Uh,
It's kind of a powerful thought to end on, right?
Yeah.
This whole deep dive it's been tough, all this stuff we've been talking about, but
It is.
but it feels like a call to action,
I hope so.
Yeah. So, I guess the question is, what can you do? What can our listeners do?
Yeah.
Maybe it's contacting your representatives, telling them you want them to support policies that make healthcare more affordable and accessible for everybody.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's supporting organizations that are working on changing the system,
Right. Right.
or even just like starting conversations with your friends and family about this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just keep the conversation going,
Yeah, keep the conversation going, because ultimately, we have the power to make a difference.
We do.
This case has shown us, the system it's broken.
Yeah.
And it's up to all of us to do something about it.
It is. It is.
So,
yeah. Well said.
There you go.
Deep dive complete.
Deep dive.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Dinky doodle, dinky doo.